Hey guys, so it's a rainy day in the garden and it's about to get real. We're gonna do a rainy day garden tour. I'm gonna give you guys a whole pan of the garden space. I had a subscriber, Stacy, who asked for me to pan out a little bit more to show you guys where I'm at. So I just figured I'd do a whole tour of the garden on this rainy day so you guys can get a little bit more of a perspective of the whole garden area. So right now I am on the deck, and right off the deck leads to the garden staircase to go down into the garden. So let's go ahead and go down there. So the garden does really need a good clean out. I didn't touch any of the leaves. I didn't cut back any perennials, and I didn't weed anything. So that does need to be done. This planting at the end of the staircase is not centered with it, because originally when this was put down here, when we designed the staircase, it was curved. So it would have been centered. But when my husband built the staircase, he felt that it would be easier if we just made it straight. But I don't mind that at all. It's planted with 2 bridal wreath spireas, and in the middle is a stump that I dug out the woods. It's dead. I like the structure of it, so I wanted it here for that reason. And when we made the staircase, the cheapest option at the time was to go with cinder blocks, and they were 99 cents at the time, so we went with that option. When you come off of the staircase, you can either turn left, which will lead to the woodland garden, or you can turn right, which leads to the vegetable garden area, which needs a cleaning out. I didn't touch anything. This pathway does break off into down further into the garden with 2 steps there. You guys probably really can't tell that well because of the leaves, but there are 2 steps there. We're gonna go ahead and go to the left. I have a ruby slippers hydrangea right here, oak leaf hydrangea, and rose of Sharon. Daffodils are starting to bloom. Some spirea that needs a good cutting back. I decided to go with daylilies on the side of the staircase for erosion control. This property was littered with the orange daylilies. They call them tiger lilies or ditch lilies. Either way, I do like them a lot. They are edible, so I just planted them thick along down side the staircase for erosion control. That was the best option at the time. I have this nice sitting area behind. I'm having a lot of problems with this area right here. So this grows a lot of weeds. I do have 2 quick fire hydrangeas that are planted on this hill. Hopefully I can get this all cleared out and mulched so I won't have to worry about all the issues I'm having with the overgrowth over here. Have another spirea that needs to be cut back, a fern. This leads to our fern covered pathway. I'm hoping I would get this done this year. I would like to move these logs back so I can make the pathway a little bit wider so I can add even more ferns in this area. I have some Christmas ferns, ostrich ferns, Japanese painted ferns, holly ferns. So along both sides of the pathway is just going to be littered with ferns. I want to give you guys a quick garden tip. When you garden on a property like this, it's a good idea to walk it early spring so you can maybe catch some of the flowering trees and shrubs that you might not know that you have otherwise. Because I would have never known that I have this cherry tree here. Early morning, one spring, I decided to walk the property and I discovered this. I saw some pink blooms off in the back. So that's just a tip for you guys. There's also another flowering tree back in there somewhere, but it hasn't broke dormancy yet, so hopefully this will get cleared up. It's probably not going to get cleared this year though, because spring seems like it's coming fast and I didn't have enough time to get over here, but hopefully I can get these logs pushed back a little bit. I do have a wildlife pond over here. I'm not sure what happened to it. I thought when we originally had it in the ground that it was leveled, but it doesn't look like it is. So this will be taken out and redone. I'm not sure when. I will eventually add a large koi pond down here, but for now this is what it's going to be. Have this small flower bed with hellebores, a few ferns in it, and these viburnum trees were here when we moved to the property. It took a while to find them because all back here that you see that is now part of the garden was actually wooded almost all the way back up to the house. So it took a while for me to find these because all of this was wooded and they weren't flowering at the time, but once I cleaned everything out over here and gave them a little bit of TLC, they started to flower and they're gorgeous. So there's 4 in this area. These are the steps that come off from the staircase, so it breaks off into 2 to the center of the garden, which leads to another flower bed full of hostas. But there's nothing really much to see. I didn't cut back any of the flower stalks to the hostas, and none of them are poking up through the ground yet, so this needs a good clean out, fertilizing, and some mulch. And across from the bench is a flower bed full of irises on either side of the irises. I do have some variegated hydrangeas, which just sticks right now, so those do look gorgeous once they start to leaf out. And this flower bed right here behind the vegetable garden, I will be removing this crepe myrtle. It's going to get too large and it's going to eventually shade out the vegetable garden, so that will be removed. It probably will get planted in this area. I was hoping to get to this area in the winter time because I was going to have my little tool shed over here and a cut flower garden, but I didn't get to this area in time. So hopefully I can get to that maybe this year. I really don't like to fool around with stuff like this because there's ticks and snakes and stuff like that. So we'll see. But this flower bed, I did expand it. It did have the crepe myrtle down here and the sweet summer hydrangeas, which need a cutback. Some hibiscus that needs cut back as well. I have some butterfly bushes, some coneflowers, some daylilies, Rose of Sharon. I will get an edger out here so I can define the flower bed a little bit more better. I'm standing in the pathway right now, which will eventually go all the way down to that side of the garden, and I'm going to do a large border that's going to run on the other side of the path, but that's going to be where all this stuff is at. So that's not cleared out yet, and I might chip away at it little by little. I just really don't want to get in there like I did the new garden that I did. So let's go into the vegetable garden. So the vegetable garden is 2 levels because the house is on a hill. So up the steps, and this is the first level. The raised beds have started to rot, so I was thinking about redoing this whole area because once again the vegetable garden isn't even leveled. I got a little impatient with this project, and I went ahead and put the beds in even though I knew the ground wasn't leveled. So maybe we'll end up leveling this out and putting some different raised beds in here, but I'm not completely sure yet. But there's 6 down here and 2 small ones. Like I said, I haven't cleaned up anything, so I do need to do that. I had to reconfigure this path a little bit. So the logs have moved a bit, but it curves and it goes all the way down there to lead up to the other path. And This flower bed needs a lot of work. I'm honestly about to take every plant out of this and reconfigure this as well, because, well, I did have an issue. I fixed the issue now with the steps over here. When it would rain real hard, all the mud would rush down to the hill and into this flower bed. As you can see, those pavers are pretty much buried, but that they weren't like that when this was originally planted. So I don't really like this flower bed too much, so this is going to be early spring. I'm going to change this whole area, hopefully. So it's not much to see here. I do have two hydrangeas over here. I have a chase tree, some reblooming Tinkerbell hydrangeas. I have some evergreen over there, some grasses. I need to redo this whole thing along with this path, because this is actually going to be, this was the path right here where you see those pavers are. This was the path, so now that's going to be flower bed. So this lovely stump flower bed here this stump provided all the stumps you see over here. That was a large dead tree, so I will utilize a lot of those stumps though for gardening use. So not sure yet. I mean, I am planning a garden with those two large stumps right there, so hopefully I can get that done before spring hits. We're gonna go ahead and take these steps, which were newly designed. I think early fall. The rabbit did get in here and get to a lot of the coral bells. It ripped the leaves off and ate the stems, so I need to do a lot of clean out in this area. But we're going to go ahead and take the steps up to the second level of the vegetable garden, which consists of 3 garden beds. I do need to do a lot of weeding over here as well, and cleanup and mulching. I have a patio peach tree and a large butterfly bush right there. So this is the vegetable garden, and you exit the second level of the vegetable garden to, I guess I would call this my cottage garden over here. This flower bed has a lot of irises in it. I do have 2 hydrangeas on both sides of the path. I'm not sure which hydrangea that is, because when I bought it, it was labeled Phantom, but I know that's definitely not what that hydrangea is. But it's gorgeous nonetheless. I have some reblooming daylilies, some lamb's ear, butterfly bush, some gorgeous roses that need a good cut back and weeding in that area. I have a beautiful iris. I can't wait till this blooms. This is one of the most gorgeous irises I've ever seen, and it's massive, so I can't wait to see that this year. And in this flower bed right here, I have some reblooming irises, Peggy Sue, along with some other pink ones. I have some little quick fire hydrangeas on both sides. This can is another piece of the trash that I got off the property. I kind of like it. I'm probably going to paint it and leave it there. I have that plum tree that has 1 bloom on it. I was thinking about digging it up and giving it to my mom and dad, but I'm not sure yet. Our newly planted spireas look gorgeous. I do have to cut back that one right there. And the setting area, so I stored most of my plants that I bought in the winter time and in the fall time in this area right here. So again, I stored all the plants here, and I just left the cans here too when I started adding it to the garden, so I do need to clean that up. Some more reblooming lilac. I have some irises in this area. The daffodils are starting to come, and this beautiful lungwort is starting to bloom, and it's beautiful. I do need to clean that up a bit though. And this back flower bed right here, it's a lot of shaded perennials. I have some bleeding hearts. They're not up yet. I do have some autumn frost hostas. A lot of hostas in this area. Stuff is still waking up. There's some mahogany monster coral bells. They don't look too good. Some burnera that started to leaf out. Looks great. But once again, I do need to clean up this whole area. This is on top of the hill. That's the setting area. I did add a new limelight hydrangea to this area. I dug up the one that was already over here because it wasn't doing so well, so I'm hoping this one does good. And this was newly planted. I did film a video on this, but then I never put it out. But I added some phlox to this area. Those three are new to this bed. A Woodland that hasn't started to leaf out yet. Butterfly bush, some variegated sedum, which needs a good cleanup as well. Peony in that cage right there, but it hasn't started to leaf out yet. And some pink yarrow that I got from my mom and dad's garden. That's starting to look pretty good. This is a can of trash that I got from when I was planting out this area. As you know, this whole, I don't know, the people that own the property before us, I'm guessing they threw a lot of trash out here and buried it. So almost every time I dig a hole, I'm digging up trash. So a lot of this right here came out of this area right here. This has a high concentration area of trash over here. So I have this flower bed right here. Moving up the hill. Well, it's muddy, so I'm slipping up the hill. So I'm just gonna walk through this flower bed real quick to show you guys. So I have a lilac that's starting to bud out. Evergreen, some spirea, coral bells. I have some Woodland, a few potted plants right here that need to go out into the garden. A lot of the times I save my pots and I add soil to them and bulbs just so when I go to put them out in the garden, in case I don't have an area that I want to put them at, I just put them in the pots. So we're gonna take this path back down. This is one of my most favorite bird baths on the property, and I got this one from Lowe's for $60. And I think it's gorgeous. It's not exactly leveled, but it still looks great. So we're gonna take this path down to the new area of the garden that we made. So once again, this whole area is not done. I still have not got the shed down here or compost bin. I need to clear out this whole area. I'm not even sure if I would even get to that because it seems like spring's coming early. But once again, the whole property is wooded and the hope is to turn it into a garden. And this is the newly added garden space. I still have a lot of clearing out to do right here to add in a few more shrubs. Hopefully I can get this done so I can have this included to be part of the garden. And just newly planted up this area right here with my Valentine Valley japonica. There's some ferns, ferns and hostas right here that haven't broke dormancy yet. And the flower bed that we were just looking at, that I had added some more wine and roses Woodland. Those are rose reblooming daylilies. Always afternoon. I have some clematis. Of course, a lot of this stuff has not broken dormancy yet. There's a beautiful oak leaf hydrangea right here, Gatsby Moon. It's gorgeous, but it doesn't look like much now. So my next video, I don't know where I'm gonna put this one at. I just recently bought that. Pencil holly. So I have a lot of cutback I need to do and fertilizing. This is where the truck bed was. I do have plans for this, so hopefully we can get this garden done before spring. I will be using those large stumps, and there's a pile of tires that are still back there. I'm not going to get to that. So hopefully next fall / winter time I'll be able to get those tires out of here. This woodland garden is new. I have not yet put in the pathway that I'm working on putting in this area. I do have some hellebores. I have a bunch of large hostas in this area. Of course, they haven't broke dormancy yet, but I have three or four large Diamond Lake hostas that surround the stump. This is my viburnum tree, the same as the ones all the way across the other side of the garden. I did transplant this one, and it did die somewhat, so I do have to trim a lot of that out. But I have some coral bells in this area. These beautiful red ones, but they don't look like much. And hydrangeas are over here too. So Empress Wu hydrangea in that area right there. These hellebores look gorgeous still. The rabbit did come and eat some of my grass and stuff, so hopefully that comes back just fine. And the coral bells, I believe they're Odyssey, but they were nice and full until the rabbit got to them. So I need to fix this pathway right here, but this pathway will hopefully join pathway over there and go around this whole entire garden as what we have for right now. So hope you guys got a better idea of this whole entire garden space, and you guys can join me for the clean out, the cutback, the fertilizing, the mulching, and maybe the redesign of the vegetable garden, because I'm really not happy with those vegetable beds. So my large massive hole for the koi pond, which we're not even going to be able to get that done this year, I don't think. Maybe next year, hopefully we can get the koi pond in. I'm going to show you guys the eggs in the pond. So this is a wildlife pond. It is a lot of wildlife in here. Springtime, summertime, I walk down here and all you hear is just like plop, 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 a bunch of frogs just jumping into this pond. So the cloudy eggs, I believe, are newt or salamander, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but those are frog eggs down there as well. So thank you guys for joining me on this small tour. I do hope you guys can join me when I do the whole clean out of this garden. So thank you guys for watching. I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks. Bye.